good evening. So on this recording I'm going to be doing a tarot horoscope for Taurians for the month of June 2018. If you enjoy this video, please like, please share, please subscribe. Don't forget the bell, to click the bell thing so you get notifications. Eventually I will be doing live streams, tarot live streams, but for the minute I'm concentrating primarily on pre-recorded tarot for the various horoscopes. Okay, so I'll be using my normal 3 decks, which is an oracle deck. It's called the Messenger Oracle, the Dreams of Gaia Tarot deck, and a traditional The Art of Tarot. So the first card I will draw for Taurians will be Oracle card. One came right out, and the Oracle card is Embrace Spirit. Second set of cards I will draw from is the Dreams of Gaia. Okay, I've been told it's the top card. Second card. Okay. Usually I shuffle them. I did shuffle them before, but my intuition was telling me that to draw the top 4 cards after I shuffled, and I wasn't getting anything different, so I've drawn the top 4 cards. In fact, that came to me in a dream to do it that way on my next one. Okay, so the next deck I'm going to draw from is the Art of Tarot, and I've been told to do the same thing. Okay. So for the month of June, we've got the card Embrace Spirit. So this card simply indicates the kind of overall guidance for the month in a very short summary. It says you are a spiritual being living in a physical life. Embrace spirit in your journey and reaffirm your connection with the divine. Fly to the heavens, but remember to look down and see that the divine exists in the magical, natural world beneath you. Spirit dwells within all, in everything you see and know, and everything that you do not see and which is unknown. Both the creative and the destructive, the beautiful and the ugly, are born of the divine. So the first card for roughly the first week is the Three of Wands reversed. The Wands cards are cards about creativity, creative areas in our lives. And then for the same week, this has been matched with the Two of Water. The water cards deal with emotions, feelings, behaviors. How our emotions and feelings affect our behaviors. Okay, so between the two of them, what this is saying is that in the first week of June, there's going to be some relationship issues. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean a romantic relationship. It could be any kind of relationship. It could be a working relationship. It could be a familial relationship. It could be a friendship. It could be a parental child, a sibling, any kind of relationship. The Dreams of Gaia card is indicating that this relationship involved is, or at least one of the relationships involved, is going to be a very deep relationship, a long-standing relationship. It could be a relationship that is destined to become one of a very deep nature. A relationship perhaps destined to become one of where the primary characteristics of the relationship is a foundation of mutual respect. But there's communication problems in the first week of June. And those communication problems may affect this relationship. There is a risk that it could derail this relationship or cause future issues. The advice you are going to be given, but you are being given, for how for you to react to this issue is one in which the advice is for you to be stoic, for you to try not to take sides. Even if one of those sides could be your own, try to take a step back emotionally from it in the first week of June. Try to look at the issue from all perspectives and all sides. Even if you don't agree with someone's perspective, you can at least try to understand that perspective. Be very careful not to allow judgment and blame to become involved, even if the other person is doing so. Because you are not doing so, it can help diffuse that situation and help diffuse the other party's intense emotional response, so they too can begin to look at the situation from a broader perspective and with less intense emotions involved. Emotions tend to block our rational thought process, and they also tend to block our intuitive abilities, our abilities to read people empathically. My apologies, that is my phone. Forgiveness is being called for in this dispute. This doesn't mean that you need to forgive the actions of another person. What it means is that you need to forgive them because they are only human, just like you. It also applies to you. Perhaps it is you that needs forgiveness from yourself. Perhaps there is guilt, a bit of shame involved, a bit of regret. Let go of any self-recrimination. Understand yourself and why you may have behaved in a certain way or will behave in a certain way. You are only human. Each time, each experience we go through, it gives us an opportunity to learn more about ourselves. And by learning about ourselves, we can then extend that knowledge to help us understand others. The Three of Wands also indicates that something new is beginning or has begun. This something new involves some form of creativity in your life. This could be a new job, it could be a new course, it could be a new area of interest for study, it could be a new hobby, it could be are you going to decorate or redecorate? This communication issue is going to affect that area of your life. There's definitely indicated that there is misunderstandings here involved. That somebody is seeing things not as they are. Perhaps they have only heard something put out of context and have made an assumption of motives. The problem with making assumptions is when we make assumptions about people's motives, those understandings are being filtered through our own experiences. When people have not dealt with their past traumas, their past emotions, their past events that have led them to be reactive in specific ways to specific types of situations today, when people haven't done the work to understand their own emotional responses and therefore their emotional behaviors, then it makes it more difficult for them to get a true and accurate reading of somebody else's emotional responses, because everything is being filtered through their own layers of understanding that is unique to them. It doesn't mean it's impossible for them to do this accurately, to perceive accurately somebody else's perception and somebody else's reactions. But it makes it more difficult. It colours it. It flavors their ideas and their assumptions. What tends to happen as a result of this is people make assumptions, and that can often be inaccurate. There can be misunderstandings. They can assume that somebody has said certain thing because they have a specific motive, but that motive is based on their own, what they perceive their own motives would be in that situation, how they would have responded. They're not accurately reading how the other person, with the other person's unique life experience, is responding and why. So misunderstandings build up. The cards are saying that if this is what's going to be happening for you next week, if you believe there is a misunderstanding here, that perhaps somebody is reacting or saying certain things, and you just can't quite understand why. Why did they take something that way? Why did they read it that way? Understand that it's most likely to be a complete misunderstanding. But the cards are asking you not to confront this emotionally at this time, because emotions will be running high. And when two people are very emotional and try to sort out a dispute or a misunderstanding from a place of intense emotions, as I mentioned before, those emotions block our ability to really communicate well on a level that is going to resolve it. It's often better to wait until the other party's emotions have receded and calmed down, and then approach them and have a calm, rational, logical, and intuitive conversation. Choose the time and place carefully. Make sure the other person is calm. Make sure they are able to sit down and not be distracted and really concentrate and look at you. As I've mentioned in previous readings, 80% of our communication is non-verbal. It's body language, it's facial expression, it's hand movements, it's tone of voice. And it is also a more, what some would call a spiritual communication, a communication of energy, of soul to soul. All of these things are very important when two people need to communicate deeply. So choose your time and place carefully. We all fail at this. I have done it in the past. But normally that's because your own emotional state is high. You're not able to be patient and wait. So practice doing that. And the cards for this week are absolutely advising you that if there is a situation in your life involving a relationship and involving somebody's very emotional response that is hard for you to understand, it's because of a misunderstanding, and the advice is to leave it alone. Don't become emotionally reactive. Don't become emotionally involved. Wait for them to calm down, and only then talk to them. So we'll go on to the second week. The two cards for the second week are the Five of Cups and the King of Earth. Okay. The King of Earth, he represents characteristics of prosperousness, of happiness and prosperity. He's a natural leader. He embodies hard work and dedication. He is not afraid to be proud and to enjoy his accomplishments. However, he is very grounded and realistic. He is wise and careful. He doesn't have emotional baggage to feed his doubts and fears. He is honest, open and candid. He's very willing to share his prosperity with others. And he would give advice without hesitation when asked. He believes everyone is entitled to the same opportunities. He is clear-minded and reliable. Someone you can trust, someone you can depend on. He's wise and intelligent. And these factors keep him at the forefront of all that he does. He uses sound methodology. He's found a process that works and he sticks to it. These characteristics are important this week. Now, these may be characteristics that the card is asking you to embody, for you to assume. These characteristics of the tarot are all characteristics that each of us possess and can call forth when required. So these characteristics of somebody who is clear-minded, who is fair and honest, who has a specific method that they use through life and it works for them. Somebody who doesn't have emotional baggage, doesn't allow past events and emotional trauma to feed doubts and fears. Somebody who is happy to give advice to others and to help others, who believes in fairness. These are characteristics that the card is suggesting that you take on in the second week of this month. If you can't do that, do you know somebody in your life who this reminds you of? Somebody who is sort of very trustworthy and dependable, somebody who you can turn to for advice and support, somebody who can do so without allowing emotions to get in the way. If there is, this person is needed in the second week for you. The relationship that there is issues in the first week of the month, these issues are going to bleed over into the second week. They're definitely going to cause issues in this relationship. This could cause termination of this relationship. This could be a partner. And this could be the time to allow that relationship to end. This is going to cause you sadness. It's going to cause you emotions of regret, sadness, disappointment. It's hard when relationships end because suddenly the hopes and dreams you may have had for the future of that relationship, you literally have to grieve for the loss of that future life. But those hurts cannot be healed by regret. There is no point regretting actions that have happened in the past, either by yourself or the other party involved. That's not going to heal anything. Treat this as a learning experience. Simply look at past actions and think, how could I have behaved differently there? Or how could they have behaved differently there? But do so with an open mind, with a clear head that isn't clouded by intense emotions. This is where this other individual can come into play for you, to help you analyze and look at things from a different perspective, one that isn't clouded by emotions. To help you get through this period, focus on what remains, the good left, and appreciate if this is an end of a relationship, whether that is romantic or any other kind of relationship. Focus on what you have learned from it, what it has brought to your life, the good aspects that it has brought to you, rather than any negative. This will help you assimilate and process what's happened in a more positive way and prevent any kind of negative impacts of this on your future self. Okay, let's go on to the third. And for the third week, we have the Nine of Swords, and we have the Scribe. Which is the 12 of air. Logic and reason is required in this week. The repercussions of the problems in this relationship, whatever kind of relationship it is, are going to continue into the third week of the month. You may be feeling victimized. The misunderstanding that occurred in the beginning of the month. Perhaps the other party has not been willing to listen, has not been willing to see things in a different way. You may be feeling stressed, a bit of anxiety in this week because of this. Your resistance, your reserves are definitely low this week. You're vulnerable. Emotionally and physically. Be careful to look after your health this week. Make sure that you are eating well, drinking lots of water, getting lots of nutrients that your body needs in a variety of forms. Eat more fruit and more vegetables if you don't eat many now. Eat some raw vegetables. Take some multivitamins. Have some healthy drinks. You need to boost your body's ability to resist the effects of your emotional state and the stress that you're undergoing. Otherwise, it can lead to illness. The Scribe is indicating this week that there's a need to record information. This must be related to this dispute, this misunderstanding, this problem in some kind of relationship that is affecting you this month. You may need somebody to help you do some research, to do some digging around, finding out about some information. Perhaps there's another party who you can ask to just ask some questions to find out what's really going on behind the scenes. Perhaps there's a legal dispute involved. If it is the end of a long personal relationship, a romantic relationship, then you may need to do some research about your legal footing. Perhaps there's somebody you know who can help you do that. Perhaps it would help you in this week to try to really understand what's happening here. If there is any confusion on your part, is to write down what you know about what's happened. What do you absolutely know for sure about what's happened to lead up to this? And what perhaps is an assumption or a guess. Be careful of your facts. Make sure you're really sure of what you're saying or thinking. There's also an indication you may have to be careful in what you say to whom, especially if this involves legal issues. Make sure you're going to the right people for support, somebody who really is trustworthy and dependable. Somebody who's not going to be stirring the issue up a little bit while pretending to be that person you can trust who's on your side. If you're using somebody to help you with guidance here who is seeming to be 100% on your side, I would question that. There are always two sides to everything. And if somebody is all the way on your side, or appears to be, either it's because they're not seeing the situation clearly, or they're not being completely honest with you. That's not what you need right now. You need somebody who's going to be honest with you to help you understand what's happened and how to help resolve it as amicably as possible. Somebody who's going to be honest with you, who's going to be fair, not a yes person. So let's see where this leads at the end of the month. Okay. Towards the end of a month, emotionally, you're being asked to look at life in a slightly different way. By this point, and maybe perfectly understandably, if this has been a very emotionally stressful month for you, you may be looking at life a little bit like your glass is half empty all the time. You may be thinking thoughts along the lines of, oh, why does nothing ever go right for me? Why does this always happen to me? Why does this happen? Why does that happen? In a negative way. The cards are advising you that that's not the best way to think at this time. A better way to look at it is looking at, okay, this has been perhaps something I wouldn't have chosen to happen. Where is the lesson in this? What can I learn from it to help me in the future? What good has come out of it? And how can I incorporate that into my future life? there is always good. There are always benefits, there are always silver linings, no matter how bad a situation you think it may be. It also indicates that there is a risk here that certain people in your life may be feeling that you are ungrateful. Perhaps they have tried to help and support you, and they feel from your behaviour that you are not grateful for that. Be careful of that at this time. Make sure you tell people, even if it only helps you in a small way, make sure you tell them how grateful you are. It never hurts to tell people you appreciate them, even if all they do for you is simply to be there, to be available for you. It strengthens relationships. It helps prevent misunderstandings from occurring in relationships. And in fact, this could be the root cause of this misunderstanding that has led to problems in this relationship. Perhaps the other person felt unappreciated, rightly or wrongly. Perhaps you always meant to tell them, you thought you were showing it, but often people think they are telling somebody how much they appreciate them, but because of their own cycle of how they think, the words their brain uses and the tone of voice they use colours what they're saying with the opposite impression. You may feel great appreciation for somebody and simply be unable to express it until you realise what you're doing and turn that around. Perhaps that is the lesson here for you. Or for the other person, perhaps it is you who has felt unappreciated, you who has felt abused, you who has felt there has been an imbalance of power in this relationship and that you have been taken advantage of. Perhaps the lesson is for the other party involved. Whatever the case may be, the cards has indicated that that is integral at this time. This feeling or sense of ungratitude and unappreciation somewhere is involved in this. Every Taurian's life is different. Every relationship is different. Only you are going to be able to see where that fits into this picture in your life, in the specific set of circumstances that is your life this month. The Page of Wands is also giving us slight warning here as well. It's warning that be careful with the information that's being given to you. There may be a case that somebody is perhaps genuinely wanting to be helpful, but they are misunderstanding the situation and are either giving you information or have given you information that actually isn't quite right. The foundations that they're basing their perceptions on are a bit shaky. The cards are suggesting here, be careful you don't react on information without really thinking it through. Similar to the previous card, where one of the aspects of that was for you to be careful, for you to do your research, for you to gather accurate information in some way, or to record information in some way. Be careful about not reacting on the information you're given instantly. Check it first, and only act on it if you're sure it's accurate. Well-meaning people can often misunderstand situations, as I've said, because of their own experiences. It may colour how they see things. Overall, this month is indicating that emotions are going to be involved here, and that is a problem. And the overall advice is for you to try and look at things in a less emotional way, to try to react less emotionally, try to withhold your reactions until you're clear thinking, until you've checked your facts and looked at the situation from multiple perspectives. Otherwise, you could make the situation much worse than it might otherwise be. These cards aren't bringing an unpleasant situation into your life. What they're doing is saying, this is what they can see is maybe happening this month, and trying to guide you through it so that you come out smelling of roses rather than something less pleasant. It's up to you whether you follow this advice. And perhaps if you don't, that's meant to be. You're not meant to follow the advice. You're meant to meet obstacles in this because it's a lesson for you and for others as well. Lessons are never just meant for one person. The last point of this Page of Wands is this person who may be giving you inaccurate or flawed information. Doesn't this suggest this is a deliberate action on their part at all? It's somebody you may recognise as a person in your life who is very inventive and yet gets easily bored. Somebody who likes to talk a lot. But maybe the substance isn't really there in what they're saying. It looks like a diamond, but it really is just a piece of rock. This person could also be you. Remember that. It could be you who is giving information to somebody that isn't actually as sound as you think it is. This advice could be for you to check your facts before getting involved. Perhaps this relationship isn't one that is between you and another person, but it's between two people in your life that you are involved in, that you may be asked to have been trying to be drawn in to take sides in this relationship, and in which case this advice is saying, don't take sides. Be very careful about your assumptions. Check your facts. Do your research. Be as unemotional in this as possible, because you're not going to be able to help if you get emotionally involved. When two people are drowning in a swimming pool, it's not going to help if you jump into the swimming pool, because you're not going to be able to save both of them. But you can throw both of them a buoyancy aid from the side. There's no point 3 people drowning in that pool. Use logic and reason rather than emotion this month. Overall, that is the message. Either way, whatever happens this month is meant to be for you and everybody involved. Your job is to help steer yourself and those involved so that the outcome is the best possible for everybody involved. Communication is key in this month, and it's got to be clear, logical, unemotional communication. And as I said before, as the cards indicated, be very careful, even if you are not the one who's unappreciating others. The very fact that that's been brought up in the reading indicates that's involved. So just be careful that you do let everybody know how much you appreciate them. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Always remember that. Doesn't matter how people behave in our lives on a day-to-day basis. If you love them, you respect them, you care for them, even when they're angry at you or you're angry at them, that feeling is still there. That's what's important. Not the day-to-day nitty-gritty, but how you really feel about them. And if you value them in any way, then you must appreciate them. And therefore let them know that. Okay. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this, please like, share and subscribe.